Get full access to over 10,000 episodes with your paid subscription. MyOutdoorTV. Start your free trial today.
You know, we get asked the question quite often, and particularly from younger hunters, as far as how can they advance as far as hunting skills. And I think every hunter has to go through that evolution process. You know, we all like to harvest those big deer, but it doesn't work like that. You have to really stair step to get to that point. You know, shooting a 2-year-old or 3-year-old, there isn't nothing shameful about it. I think having the patience to go through that evolution process is important.
You obsessed all summer long, preparing for the whitetail season to come, and finally, it has arrived. This is Phase 1, a new beginning. Even though excitement may be at an all-time high throughout the Midwest, don't expect this period to be easy by any means, for warm temperatures can suppress daylight activity, and those mature bucks aren't traveling far as they're bedded close to one of many food sources. But there is a silver lining if you can locate a specific buck's bedroom, and if I decide to send a promising front your way.
Mother Nature, you definitely influence whitetail movement, and that can be tricky sometimes. But that's okay. Along with our tactics, we have DeerCast to help us predict your every move. Now, here's Matt for our DeerCast for Phase 1.
DeerCast for this phase doesn't look too hot because it is too hot, but we have a slight glimmer of hope on the 22nd and the 23rd as a rain event pushes through. Dropping temps, boosting pressure in general, giving us a great opportunity to get the job done. Now, let's jump right into that too hot for TV action, and let's see just how badly it's affecting the guys out in the field.
Mother Nature has a way of humbling you and setting you in your place. And this year, every other text, every other phone call seems to be doom and gloom because of the EHD that's popping up.
You know, you have all these plans headed into the season, deer that you've passed for years, and to have them show up missing or even worse, show up dead with EHD, it really leaves you scrambling, scratching your head, trying to figure out a new plan for the fall.
We've been finding a lot of deer dead from EHD, and I came down to this pond to check it. As you can see over my shoulder, there's a doe standing right there. She's standing there trying to get her fever down, and I feel so bad. You have so much compassion for these animals. I wish I could help, but just gotta hope and pray that first frost comes and kills off those midges.
EHD, epizootic hemorrhagic disease. EHD is one of those viruses that's very random when it hits. It's pockety when it does hit, but when it affects your hunting area, it is absolutely devastating. Just because of a little midge fly carrying a virus, spreading it from deer to deer to deer. The death rate that you experience can be anywhere from less than 1% up to 70, 80, 90%. One thing's for sure, when it hits you, it leaves you scratching your head because you don't know who's alive, you don't know who's sick. During this time of the year, when you get into Phase 1, they're not very easy to take photographs of, so that's why it's a head scratcher. You really never get your arms fully around how many deer you've lost until later on in the season. Brother Terry, I feel for you, and the bad news is it's spreading throughout the Midwest.
Everyone across northern Missouri here, southern Iowa, Indiana, I know is getting hit. This is probably a 3-year-old, and it's a good young deer. Would have been nice in a couple of years. Just really, really unfortunate.
What do we have against us in Phase 1? We have temperatures that are 15 degrees above normal. We are already past the full moon, and we have crops that are green everywhere because of the late planting, because of all the spring rains. So all of our fingers are crossed, but it's going to be a tough phase, I think. Probably the toughest Phase 1 we've ever had on the show 13 in all the years we've been doing it.
When those temperatures start to reach 10, 15 degrees above normal temps, it really subdues the movement. I'm going to use this time to do some much needed work in and around the farm. I'm also going to use this time to try and get on the buck we call Leopold. We named him that a few years back. Bruce Pettit, the president of Leopold, was in, and I told him there was a shooter coming at the last second. I said, no, I'm wrong.
No, that's the 3-year-old. No. Okay, can't shoot it. That's the double drop time. Sorry.
And it was this giant 3-year-old at the time. I had to hold him off, and Taylor nicknamed him Leopold. Well, last year, he turned into a 4.5-year-old, looked like a 180, 190 class deer. He was on the no-shoot list except for one person. We tried to get him killed with Mom, and she just couldn't find him in the scope, but he was a giant. That was the one and only time we saw Leopold last year. The pictures, however, tell the story about this deer. He showed up on the farm last year around the 21st of September, and he stayed. I'm hoping that this year he does the same, and I'm biding my time through this warm front looking for that #1 target. My fingers are crossed that he shows up this fall.
If Leopold is there and he shows up, Mark's going to play the chess match and he'll do everything that's right. He's forfeiting a few sits now that may yield big benefits down the road.
So now, fingers crossed that Mother Nature brings down those temperatures a little bit and Leopold gets up on his feet and makes an appearance in front of those Draconics.
This segment was brought to you by RTP Outdoors.
Every hunt starts with a game plan, like knowing when and what to plant. So get DeerCast and get ahead of your game.
13 is brought to you by Rage Broadheads, Reconics, Analogics, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, Ram Trucks, Mossy Oak, Leupold, Traditions Firearms, Muddy Outdoors, Scent Crusher, Can-Am, DeerCast, Lacrosse Footwear, Onyx Hunt, and Nomad Performance Apparel.
Phase 1, September 15th
through September 24th.
A new beginning.
Over the past 5 seasons, Dad and Uncle Terry have drilled down on every tactic for this phase. But with those two, the information never ends. Now, let's see what additional details they have when it comes to reviewing recent summer pictures.
So many of the big mature deer that we've harvested over the years, you really have to give credit to the Reconics pictures because of the information you learn. You know, when they're in velvet, you may get pick after pick after pick on a green food source, if it's standing soybeans or what have you, and then all of a sudden, once they drop their velvet, they may move or do that major shift and go to another area, so you may lose the deer you were after. Consequently, you may pick up a new deer. So you really have to stay on top of those cameras with regularity. Any of the shooters that you might have, try and triangulate, figure out where they're going, where they've been, and try and get an approximate position where you know you can get the right wind and move in on them and kill them.
Yes, immediate in the now information can help you, but I still find that last year's information helps as much as this year. So I'm looking backwards and trying to pattern deer from last year based on their behavior going into this year. We say review recent summer pictures. Well, in reality, look at this year's pictures to see who's still alive, who avoided the dreadful EHD, and then take that deer and look back the last 2 or 3 years if you have a picture history with that deer.
Here it is, day 2 of the new beginning, phase 1. We have a balmy 86 or 87 degrees again today. So we're gonna continue managing the deer herd here in phase 1. We're out to try and harvest a doe. Mother Nature has done her part with EHD. She's taken a lot of deer out of the herd so far, which will decrease the social stress for one thing, but we're constantly taking an inventory. Between the cameras and what we lay an eyeball on, we'll know exactly what kind of deer numbers we're left with. But I'm gonna continue harvesting the does because EHD takes out a lot of those bucks. So hopefully we'll have some luck here in phase 1. One of the things that we've learned over the years is that access is about 90% of the battle. We'll do just about anything to try and limit the intrusion and try and slip into a set as quietly and as swiftly as possible without doing too much damage.
We got a beautiful food plot. Forrest came in with the RTP groundbreaker, and that thing is absolutely one of the best implements I've ever worked with. It's made our life much, much simpler. You go through less steps. It's all in one, and it does a heck of a job. So I'm pretty pleased with this one. We've got the right amount of moisture as well. Now we need the temperatures to drop substantially.
DeerCast says okay, but this is a food plot that looks so good, still have pretty high hopes that we may have a chance at a doe.
I think it's safe to say that we would all hate to be a doe on Terry's farm.
She literally walked unders. She came out kind of downwind of us as well. Testimony to Scent Crusher products is all I got to say, because we are sweating profusely here. First doe of the season here in phase 1, day 2, a new beginning, by golly.
What a shot. You know, you might be wondering, why is he shooting a doe if he got hit with EHD so bad? Well,
one of the really negative parts about EHD, it often affects your buck herd much worse than it does the does. So when that happens, your herd gets out of balance. If you don't want to stress your bucks even further as you go into the rut, it's up to you to try and bring that herd back in balance. They're born at a 1-to-1 ratio. You must try and keep them as close to that as possible. So that's why in EHD years, we really work hard to balance that herd.
Here we are, phase 1, day 2. This doe walked right under us. I can't say enough. Testimony number 1 to Mossy Oak Camouflage, and number 2 to Scent Crusher Products. And the Rage did its job like it always does. She ran 45, 50 yards and fell over. So great evening here in phase 1, day 2. Couldn't be happier.
Okay, been working on the farm all day, and because of the temperature, because my target bucks haven't shown up, I chose not to hunt tonight. Brother Terry's out there leading the way again. Congratulations, brother. You're carrying the load in phase 1. Nice work.
This segment was brought to you by SME, Shooting Made Easy. An array of obstacles poses a threat on this new beginning, and thus far you've been quite proactive by managing the wrath of EHD and battling the heat by gathering MRI. Now it's September 22nd. The weather has finally changed for the better, and Mark decided to split up from Wade with high expectations for this afternoon's hunt.
The front had started last night, cooled things off. Still having a few little showers. The pressure's bumped. It's coming back up. DeerCast is changing from okay to good, and I think today and tomorrow will be the 2 premium days within phase 1. We're going with 2 crews over here. Based on last year's history, this is about when Leupold hit the farm. I'm still wondering whether EHD got him going in here, perhaps hunting a ghost, but we got to try. Wade's going to non-typical clover. We'll have our fingers crossed. Brother Terry, for his birthday, is down there enjoying a Kansas City Chiefs game. So we're going to carry on with phase 1. Cross our fingers that either Wade or myself can get one down here in this phase. I'm headed in after Leupold. I'm going to one of the fields. I had pictures of him on so many times last year. Fingers are crossed.
we're in the Chiefs Kingdom, celebrating a Christmas and a birthday present. Phase 1, we're doing a Kansas City Chiefs style. We now interrupt phase 1 for some Kansas City Chiefs football. Dad always said it was on his bucket list to go to a home game there. My sisters and I got together, gave it to him for a Christmas present, and we got to see one fun home opener.
Okay, I found out that Chiefs fans are the craziest, loudest fans in the world, and now we're avid Chiefs fans. I'm going to start painting up and going to all the Chiefs games if I get tickets. We're just hoping that someone will send us tickets.
Hey, we couldn't have asked for a prettier day. We had a lot of rain early. The skies opened up and the rain pushed out. It's cloudy, a little overcast, 70 degrees. It doesn't feel any better. Go Chiefs!
just crawled up in the blind, and we got the cold front we've been waiting for. We're over this non-typical clover field. We've had a couple shooters out here pretty regularly, not have been on daylight, so hoping that this cooler weather gets them up on their feet. Yeah, it's been a tough phase one so far. I got Kyle behind the camera. Hopefully she's my lucky charm.
Wade and his beautiful wife Kyle, they're in the blind together.
Wade has got the best camera lady on earth. Hopefully they'll have some luck tonight. That could be his good luck charm right there.
This could be good or this could be bad. If it rains for 20, 30 minutes and stops, it'll be great. If it rains till dark, it'll be bad.
You know, that rain front comes through, and then the sunshine, deer cast goes to good.
And they started to have an amazing sit once that sun came out.
All of a sudden, these bucks are up on their feet, some really, really good deer. We'll see what happens.
This segment was brought to you by Winchester Repeating Arms. 13 is brought to you by Rage Broadheads, Reconics, Analogics, Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, Ram Trucks, Mossy Oak, Leupold, Traditions Firearms, Muddy Outdoors, Scent Crusher, Can-Am, Deercast, Lacrosse Footwear, Onyx Hunt, and Nomad Performance Apparel. Phase 1 continues on, and this new beginning is finally starting to heat up. Or should I say, cool down. The temperatures are prime, a rain event passed, and the sun emerged, thus sparking a flurry of whitetail movement. And best of all, both of Wade's target bucks just made their presence known.
feet. That's the front we needed. And I shot the ape. I think he was a year older than that 10. It's always age before beauty, and as you saw, that 11-pointer with a kicker, I just think he was 1 year too young, so we waited for the more mature buck, and I think we just got it done here in phase 1, the new beginning.
All right, shot is back just a touch. Quick look at DeerCast Track says this could be liver, and the appropriate thing to do is to give this deer a little bit of time. The last thing we want to do is push him and lose where he beds that first or second time.
She's just walking this ditch. Yeah, here's more.
Hey, right there he is. Look at that.
Oh, wow.
He just walked this ditch right through this hole. He just dived right in there.
That's awesome. Thank heaven.
Now the work starts. Woo! Holy cow.
Of all the places to find a deer, look at this.
Unbelievable. Awesome stuff.
How about it, man? Congratulations.
Phase 1.
Yeah.
What an unbelievable start here to phase 1.
I'm pumped, buddy.
Just so much fun, you know. We got a 25-degree drop in temperature, a little bit of rain, and had the mature bucks up on their feet.
What a difference it makes. You know, that week of 90-degree temperatures, we're working on the farm and we're hearing about EHD, and you've got that going through your mind. The pictures had slowed down and the weather changed. A tale of two phases, really. The heat that Terry was hunting through killed a doe, and then it started to cool off. And then last night, you know, everything was in line. And I mean, the bucks were on their feet for sure.
They sure were. The camera had showed these bucks had been out on this non-typical clover field every night, but it was after dark. We just needed this front to get them out during daylight.
It worked to a T because you used management. You took the older buck, let the younger buck, which is going to be a really giant someday if he makes it. I mean, getting it done here in phase 1, a beautiful Missouri buck. We've had so much luck during this new beginning phase through the years, and yet again this year we got it done on a beautiful, mature Missouri 8-point. Yep. Management at its finest.
Yep.
This segment was brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist.
We hope you've enjoyed this free episode. To continue watching, start your free trial now.